Right now, in warm bodies of fresh water, there is a small organism that kills 98% of everyone it infects, and yet you've probably never heard its name. Found in hot springs, swimming pools, and even tap water, this little-known group of pathogens may represent a rising global danger. With climate change being one of the biggest challenges of the 21st century, its living conditions are becoming more favorable, and it spreads further into places it has never been before. And what is this mysterious organism we are talking about? You're about to find out. Before we jump into this, here is 60 seconds of context on what this video is even about. Naegleria fowleri is a single-celled organism, an amoeba often called brain-eating amoeba. Its natural habitat resides in warm fresh water such as lakes, rivers, ponds, and hot springs around the world. But it can also be found in poorly maintained swimming pools and even tap water. Here's the key fact to mention. You can swallow the amoeba with zero consequences. It only becomes deadly when water containing the amoeba goes up your nose. Then it travels up your nose straight to your brain. For comparison, if this amoeba were a grain of sand, your brain would be a basketball. Pretty small, right? But this was all just beginning. Let's go through what happens if this amoeba actually enters your nose and proceeds further. After Naegleria infected water has entered your nose, congratulations, you've been officially infected by this deadly organism. But the amoeba doesn't really want to be there. It's just looking for bacteria to eat. And luckily for you, it possesses receptors for acetylcholine, which is speculated to be the reason for its taste for your brain. It's like a moth drawn to light. It just follows the signal. Then the amoeba migrates along your olfactory nerves and enters your brain. After this happens, it's over. The following invasion of the central nervous system usually results in death within 7 to 10 days after the infection. But you still don't know what is going on after it finally reaches its final destination, your brain. And that's what we are going to talk about right now. Alright, this is where it gets quite disturbing. Firstly, the amoeba attacks your brain with its food cups, eating your living brain tissue piece by piece. Secondly, it secretes a variety of chemicals which further damage your nerves. While this is all happening, a strong immune response is generated which only further damages your central nervous system. You have officially entered the phase called PAM. A brain infection described as the destruction of your brain tissue. Symptoms of PAM start about 5 days after infection. Headache, fever, nausea, or vomiting. Later, confusion, lack of attention, loss of balance, and hallucinations. After the start of symptoms, the disease spreads rapidly and death occurs within 5 days. That was the full process. But what makes these organisms so hard to control? Welcome to the most important part of this video. If you find learning about the invisible threats in our environment as fascinating as I do, consider subscribing to my channel. There are a lot more videos like this coming up in the near future. Between 1962 and 2024, there were 167 reported cases of PAM in the United States. Only 4 have survived, fewer than 10 cases a year. The infection is diagnosed using laboratory tests. However, only a few labs in the United States can even detect it. Not to mention that by the time it's diagnosed, the patient is usually already dying in a coma or already dead. PAM just progresses so quickly that the infection is very difficult to identify. There is some evidence that certain drugs may work, their effectiveness is still unclear. But what makes these organisms particularly dangerous is their ability to survive conditions that kill many other microbes. They can tolerate high temperatures and even live inside water distribution systems. With climate change, the rising temperatures, The conditions for their growth are becoming even more favorable, allowing them to spread into regions where they were once uncommon. The researchers also point out that amoebae can act as a shelter for bacteria, viruses, or other dangerous microbes. The Trojan horse effect allows harmful pathogens to persist and spread through water systems. Yes, I know this is a lot. At least here is how you can prevent infection. Avoid jumping into bodies of warm fresh water, or at least hold your nose or wear a nose clip. Always keep your head above water in hot springs, make sure that swimming pools are well maintained and chlorinated, and always be aware when using unchlorinated water. Don't allow water to go up your nose when bathing. Infection caused by a brain-eating amoeba is believed to be extremely rare, but extremely deadly at the same time. It is nearly 100% fatal, but it can be almost 100% preventable with simple precautions. Kinda strange if you ask me. The brain-eating amoeba isn't particularly evil. It still evolved to eat bacteria in warm freshwater bodies. But one evolutionary factor made it one of the biggest threats to the most complex object in the universe: your brain. It spreads rapidly because of something we do, warming up our planet, and stays invisible because of something we choose: deprioritizing rare diseases. The next time you decide to jump into a warm lake or river, hold your nose. Not because the amoeba might get up your nose, it probably won't, but because the one time it does, currently there is nothing that can reliably save you, and at least that deserves your attention. If you want to learn something new about invisible organisms shaping our world, consider subscribing to my channel or click on the next video.